Hey everybody, this is Mr. Payton. This is part one of my series on maturity. For this episode, we're going to focus on acceptance. Now, before you make a judgment on what that's going to be about, let's think about what the word acceptance means. For me as a young person, if you'd have said acceptance, I would have took that almost as an insult because I grew up in tougher conditions. And so to me, acceptance meant like giving in or surrender. And though it may mean surrender in some way, the way I look at acceptance now is to understand my strengths and my weaknesses. When I work with young people, what I realize very quickly is that they don't really know themselves very well, which makes sense because they're still developing. But as they begin to get to know themselves, they spend all their time focusing on their strengths. So you find someone that's good academically, all they do is read and do schoolwork. Find someone that does sports, that's all they want to do is their sports and don't focus on anything else. To me, acceptance is understanding where things are in your life. And the acceptance part is kind of tricky. It's not saying, okay, it is what it is and I'm just going to stay here. No, to me, acceptance says, okay, I understand that there are some limitations to who I am. And I know for all of us out there who are hard chargers and believe that we can save the world and there are no limitations, it's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's no, that you can't reach every goal possible. What I am specifically speaking to is the idea about understanding that you do have weaknesses. The most magnificent speaker, athlete, intellectual, all have weaknesses. We all have things we can work on. To me, acceptance is understanding where those limitations are and being willing to ask for help, being willing to work through those things. When I think about what maturity meant for me growing up, the toughest part was accepting my financial situation and not being embarrassed about it. That was really tough. Anybody who grew up in a tough situation, I won't necessarily say poverty, but just unfortunately having less than the people who are around you, that can be a difficult thing to accept. But it doesn't mean you resolve yourself to just, this is how it's always going to be. It means, okay, I understand this is one of my limitations. What can I do about it? To me, acceptance is the beginning of you starting to solve the problems. And that's what's really important to me because I am a problem solver by nature. I see something, I want to try to address it and attack it, at least give it a shot. If it doesn't work and I find out that it's beyond my control, fine. But I'm at least give it a shot. I'm going to refer to the other people who maybe have more skills or more ability in that area or simply more responsibility in that area. But I'm not just going to concede that things don't work and they're broken and that's it. So acceptance can be very powerful in that way. So when I think about acceptance, again, I think about it in terms of identifying what it is that's going on. And that can be on the positive and negative side. For most individuals, that's going to be strengths and weaknesses, also known as limitations. But more importantly, acceptance can also mean understanding others. Here in the United States where we live, particularly where I am here in Phoenix, Arizona, it is easy sometimes to get caught up in this idea that, I'm so different from everyone else, or that there's a certain majority that seems to be in power, getting all the attention. It's really difficult for young people, but also for adults. And I think, again, this entire topic is about maturity. Acceptance allows us to have a different perspective on those differences. So for me as an African American, it would be very easy for me to say, man, I live here in the Southwest. I feel like everything is geared towards things being in Spanish or things being in the Southwestern theme. And as an African American person, I can feel like I'm left out. To me, maturity or the mature approach to that would be, okay, yes, I live in the Southwest. Yes, I'm African American. And maybe it does seem like that currently there are things being, presented to a certain group. So immediately my mind goes to, so what am I going to do about it? To me, that's the mature approach. The mature approach is, okay, this is where the situation lies. This is where I want it to be. How do I get from here to there? So again, coming back to the overall topic of maturity, acceptance is just the beginning, which is why I started and had this be the first topic. I really think if we can focus on acceptance, it can give us a great head start on moving towards becoming a more mature individual. So as I continue on with these topics and trying to build maturity and growth in others, I'd love to hear what you think about the term acceptance. If you disagree, if you thought I should have started in a different place, love to hear all that. I have enjoyed immensely getting on this platform. I was one of those old people that said, I don't know what the heck YouTube is, and I don't see the purpose for it. I so wish I'd have got going doing this much earlier. For those of you who are former students or current students of mine, this is why I do it. It just gives me an opportunity to discuss and work on things that don't necessarily get a grade or aren't necessarily covered in school settings or in sports settings where I've spent most of my time. So hope you liked the video. Subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you again. Have a great day.